Hey everyone, it's TV dinner time. Kick your shoes off, get comfy. Today we're talking about a new show. We're talking about Feud, season 2. Capote versus the Swans. Sorry.
Yes, his
The,
black swans as or whatever.
yeah, the first 4 episodes. It's a 8 episode or yeah 8 episode season for season 2. I think season 1 was also 8 episodes. I watched season 1. Jason, I don't think you've seen season 1, but Feud is each season is self-contained. It's about Hollywood feuds between people of different eras. Both seasons are older eras. No recent feuds have occurred yet, but this one's been interesting so far.
Yeah, and I kind of wonder, like, with the contrast of the first season, because since they're like encapsulated in single seasons, right? Like they're its own story within it. So I wonder, like, in contrast with the first season, does this, like, I don't know if it's like, would you consider it like it starts off slow? Like the first 4 episodes, we kind of have experienced like what Capote did to these women, and that's
he's diabolical. Like he treated those women like dirt, and they still were running back to him, like wanting his approval, which made no sense to me.
Yeah, and that, I guess that's like the biggest question. It's like he used them as a source of information, and so and as a source of like, do you get that like Capote's kind of like in like a rough spot during this time? Like he's like out of work, he's probably spending way more money than he needs to,
trying to write a book,
maybe.
Alcohol problems, went to rehab twice.
Something like that. I know, like the last episode, the 4th episode, we saw that he did go to rehab, and then he
was clean.
And he was good.
Fell right back. Yeah, relapsed.
Yeah,
went right back to the same dude. Got some street meat.
But do you? So, like, in terms of like the whole thing, like it's basically, the story is Capote kind of like meeting these like New York socialites, right? Yeah. They're like the wives or the heirs to big money, basically. And so I don't know if it's like, would you consider them like, I guess like Babe is new money, right? Because like her husband is like in the TV era, but that's fairly new in that
time
realm.
Frame, yeah.
So, and then he basically befriends these individuals, and then he like learns way too much about them.
It seems almost like it was planned, because everyone had to have known of these women because of their social status. I think he probably targeted, like, hey, I want to befriend these women because I know I can get some notoriety from it. Is how I looked at it after watching these couple of episodes.
And it's funny because like I think I would assume, in my point of view, would be that in the middle of this situation, he then flips a script, and it's like, all right, well, it's an opportunity. I think in the first instance, he probably, I think he's just, maybe they just like, Capote was like, these women are just telling me everything.
They're just spilling their guts, yeah.
So I think it was like more so, it's like, I did not go into this situation doing this, but I'm going to do it now.
I can see that, but it also somewhat feels like he might have planned it too, though. I think how it played out, what you're saying, how it played out is probably how it went down, but just seeing how he is as a person in this show, it feels like, nah, you probably knew you can get something out of this.
I can totally see that, because like I guess one of my questions is, and maybe I'm not understanding it correctly, is Capote's mom alive during this show, or is she just like a ghost that kind of haunts him?
I don't know, because so the actress that plays his mother, or his possible mother, she was one of the main characters in season 1.
Okay.
And she's in because this show falls in the same world as American Horror Story and American Crime Story, I believe. So she is actually in all of those. She's not in American Crime Story, sorry, but she's in all of the American Horror Stories.
They're not like connected, right? But they're just
I don't know.
from the same.
I think
people.
it's just a world created by the creator of these shows, and he just like picks and chooses. Like, yeah, basically, yeah. Everybody likes having their own universe.
Yeah.
I still don't know if his mother was actually there or not. That was very vague.
Because like his relationship with his mother and his understanding that his mother was like kicked out of these large socialite kind of parties does feed into your theory of like he went into this with a purpose because maybe he's trying to avenge his mother. I can see that.
And he did I'm terrible at remembering these characters' names, but was it Demi Moore's character? He did her horribly. I was like, dude, you ruined this woman's life.
And whether or not but you also see his story possibly being true that maybe she did.
Yeah.
But
don't just out this woman like, hey, don't hang out with her because she did this.
She's like, OJ, if the cops never got to that situation, then hey, I get to walk free.
True. The glove doesn't fit. Like, you must have quit.
Yeah. So it's like, because like I often, because like when he saw his mom when he was like drunk at that Thanksgiving, which I would have kicked him out like a long time ago. I would have been like, all right, you're not going to mess up my Thanksgiving because I'm the one that's going to get drunk and belligerent.
Exactly. It's my house. I can just go upstairs and go to sleep. Like, I can get as wasted as I want.
But when his mom shows up then, I'm like, okay, maybe she's like a dream and everything. Like she's a ghost. But then at that dance party or like that party, I'm like, do they all? Unless that's like, unless that was like the whole like emotional dance that he was doing by himself in the middle of the dance floor. Like, was he imagining his mom there too?
Or he was just wasted.
Yeah,
he could have just been like just wasted and was just like, oh, I can see my mom. I
find it funny that like most of these shows, a lot of shows really do depict that like people take a bunch of alcohol, take a bunch of like pills, and they're like, they take a pill and they like down it with alcohol. It's like you're never supposed to do that.
No. And I guess that's when you get visions of people that have passed.
Maybe.
Because I've been drunk before and I've never had visions like that. So
maybe
I've also never drank and had a pill. So
I was gonna say that's like the time where you have to like one more drink and see what happens.
I don't know if I want to try that one. I'm okay. I'll leave it to them.
Yes.
I did like the switch up in episode 3 though.
Okay, I was gonna ask you that. Did you like that?
Yeah, I did. It was, I can't say jarring, but it was unexpected. That's what I should say. To go like watch the first 2 episodes and then for them to flip the script and it's like, oh, this is all black and white and it's a documentary style. It took me a second to kind of get to adjust to it, but I enjoyed it.
It did make sense. The context that they gave it, that Capote wanted this kind of documentary. It would make sense that Capote would want it black and white in like this aspect ratio. Like it's almost like the Office type of deal where like they get to like cuts of like the talking heads. So it made sense in the situation. Yeah.
Are you
so you see everything.
Right
you see, his like crap that like he's like, I'm gonna close the door, and then he like opens it real quick.
I was waiting for him to wink at the cameraman like, come on, keep recording.
I like that too. The black and white, I think you and I have like, we really like black and white kind of like it because it changes the dynamic of it. It looks it instantly looks better in terms of like it just gives us emotion. And then with the aspect ratio also, it kind of tightens up the shot and it kind of does give that more personal feel to it as what a documentary would kind of, in this sense too, like a documentary of these women that like have lunch at the same place like every day.
I wonder what that's like, just to be like, I have no worries in the world. I know at noon every day I'm meeting up with my friends to have lunch and we're just going to talk about what we did in the morning. Like, I wonder if that gets boring after a while, or if it's always fun.
I guess it's like that's why you kind of like have these lifestyles, is that you, so that every day is different, and so you like have something different to talk about, and then possibly why you kind of create these like these obscure frustrations and arguments with people, so that you have a little bit of enjoyment of the day that's like pretty much the same thing every day.
Yeah,
and they're
just to complain about the
drunk all the
smallest
time too. Like
inconvenience. That's also true. That is also true.
I wanted to ask you, with in terms of in relation to like the black and white episode 3, kind of like flips the script, this black and white, that documentary.
Yeah.
Was there like a shot in these like 4 episodes that you saw that was like, oh, like it's a good looking show no matter what?
Yeah.
In all, but like, was there something that stood out to you?
I don't have nothing that comes to mind, but there was one thing I thought was cool. In episode 4, he referenced a photographer. After he met his ex-lover's daughter, and was having her become a model, helping her become a model. So I knew of Truman Capote because of this actual photographer. Like, I have one of his photo books. His famous guy. His name is Richard Avedon. And in the episode, they reference him. He's like, "Oh, I'm going to take her to go see Dick Avedon," and I thought that was kind of cool.
Okay.
Yeah, but no, I know there were some nice shots. I didn't have any that like stood out and was like, "Oh, let me remember this so we can talk about it."
The one that kind of stood out to me the most was, I enjoyed it, the contrasting shots of like showing the Thanksgivings, that like he wasn't invited to this lush, lavish Thanksgiving with these socialites that he wanted to go have the Thanksgiving with. And so you see the contrasts of like the nice, crazy, lit Thanksgiving, like you can tell everyone is like their servants are there and stuff. And then it transitions to like the normal Thanksgiving, so to speak, and everything. And he's there, just both of them are pissed and everything. It was fun. It was nice to show that like he's down and out, and he's having more of like a human Thanksgiving, like a normal human's Thanksgiving, and he's kind of pissed off at that, in contrast to the one that's like the extravagant one that he wanted to be invited to. And
it's his fault though. Like, he brought that on himself. Like,
in terms of the whole story, like I was telling Patty, she hasn't been watching it with me. She's watched like a few like moments of it. And so she asked me, she was like, how has it been? Like, knowing that she knew that we watched like the first 4. Yeah. And I was like, I don't know. It's like, I'm not really invested in these people. Like, I can care less about this whole situation. It sucks what he does and everything. Like, that's like, he's a big douchebag for doing this and everything. But I have no skin in the game. I have no care in the world for this story.
I'm happy we both feel the same way about it. Like, I enjoyed season 1, and I enjoy this season, but it's not a show that I'm gonna run and tell everybody, "Hey, you have to watch it," or that I'm fully invested in as I'm watching each episode. Like, if I get a phone call or if I get a text message, I may grab my phone and be like, "All right, let me respond," even though the show is on right in front of me, because I'm just like, if I miss something, it's not going to be the end of the world.
That's funny because I did notice myself grabbing at my phone quite often when I was watching this and stuff, and so I would like find myself like, oh, it would go to commercials since I'm watching it on Hulu and stuff, and I would pick up my phone during the commercial, but I noticed the little by little my phone use would continue on into the show, and I'm like, oh well, yeah, like you said, like I can't, like, if I miss something, they're gonna just say something about it later. It makes sense. Yeah, I guess that goes to the question too. It's like, who would you recommend this to?
I would recommend American Crime Story, or I would recommend season 1 of Feud. Like, if you do want to check out Feud, I would recommend season 1 of Feud, or American Crime Story, or American Horror Story. I haven't watched it, so I can't really recommend it, but I've seen American Crime Story and I enjoyed those seasons. So I'd recommend those over this.
Yeah, it's like for me, it's like the only thing I can like. I would say like if you have to watch this if you're a fan of Capote. I had no clue
Yeah,
what Capote did, and Patty
same.
was like,
Yeah,
"Oh, he like wrote Breakfast at Tiffany's and stuff, and Aubrey Hepburn and all that stuff." So it's like okay, but if you are a fan of Capote, I think this is like a story that like sadly it's like a different story that you probably don't want to hear if you are a fan of
yeah.
Capote, but
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 I
it's
go
good.
ahead. I think it would be interesting if because we have 4 more episodes. It's a 8 episode season, like we said. It would be interesting to see an episode dedicated to who Truman was before the Swans. Like if we were
True.
able to see him like in his prime writing one of his famous stories, and then you kind of see the downfall of like how he became this person, because there's no way he was always this diabolical and this evil.
Yeah, that's true. Like seeing what the trigger was for his vindictive kind of behavior, where it's like,
Yeah,
why did he kind of like, if your theory is true, like he went out and sought out these individuals and was like, oh, I'm going to create a story about this. Where did that come from? Like, yeah, like
yeah,
he did not think about that all the time. Granted, his early experience elevated him to the point where he was able to kind of introduce himself to these
yeah.
socialites and stuff and be welcomed. So, eh, how did that work out and everything? And why does he?
That's what I'm interested in seeing. Like I'm
Yeah, right.
hoping in these next 4 episodes they give us at least a glimpse of that.
Yeah, I like that too. Where it's like at least something, just some like all right, like some contrast of like his younger self, like his
Yeah,
what he also like you see in his apartment, he elevates himself as a younger self, like on this pedestal that's what he's chasing. Granted,
hmm
every human being probably does that, like chases their like younger self quite a bit when they get older. Um, but yeah, I guess that would be interesting. Like I guess I have no clue what the next 4 episodes would be like and
I
how
don't
this thing
either.
ends. Like, is he
Like
gonna
at
die?
least,
Like, are they gonna show him
yeah.
die? Like, the one lady has cancer. Like, is she gonna like miraculously kind of like recover from the cancer, or she's like pretty much already set out to kind of like
And that was
kick
like
it?
old school days of like, hey, we're trying to figure out chemo right now, and
Yeah.
she was struggling. So I don't know. We'll see.
So yeah. So I have like no clue how this ends and stuff. I'm intrigued to see what this kind of like if this hooks me to want to watch the first season. To be like,
Yeah,
all right, well, like I enjoyed this one, or it wasn't that bad, so I'm gonna watch the first one. So I think we'll see with the next 4.
yeah. I'm hoping it ends well.
That's true.
Yeah, because if it
Nah.
doesn't, that's going to be a drag. Like we've dealt with that with other shows already. So hopefully this isn't another one that just starts off decently and just ends horribly.
Yeah, yeah. With a slow ending, it's kind of like a
Yeah,
slow burn, kind of happening right now for
like we
4
wasted
hours of.
8 hours. Yeah, we wasted 8 hours of our lives.
But that's why we do this, to kind of like expose people to like possibly watching some new shows. If you've seen Feud season 2, Capote versus the Swans, if you've seen it, let us know in the comments if you like it, dislike it, and just let us know what you think. And please like and subscribe to Saturday Night Popcorn for more TV dinner like these.